Hi everyone. Today we're going to be working with Godot and creating a small project that gives you a little character, a little 2D character you can move around. And so I've already created a project here um, and decided a folder to put it in. And I'm at the first startup page. It looks like this. I named my project Practice, and I named the folder that it's in Practice as well. And when you start out, it has, if you look at the top, there's these four things, and 3D is highlighted. Go ahead and click on 2D, um, and that's going to take us to the scene that we're going to do. So on the left side has this scene window that has these different, make it a little bigger, make the little side a little bigger here too. Basically, we want to select 2D scene, and that's going to be because we're going to have a node 2D, and that's going to create a node 2D. So if you Command S, or you can save, this is just going to be, I'm just going to save it called node 2D. You could also call it main if you want. For the purpose of keeping track of what's what, I'm going to just call it node 2D for now to help you keep reference on what types of basic components these are. Now these node 2D, these scene type things, they are like containers that you use. They're like, for lack of a better term, they're like objects. They're things in the code structure of Godot that you use to this is one that's like the top level for the whole game, and then underneath this is going to be other things that are, they're like folders or containers that much more than folders, but they're parts of the code. So you have to have one for a player, one for each enemy, the one for the map, one for camera, things like that. So next, let's go ahead and hit the plus button right here. And this is going to create another scene, and we're going to click the other node, and we're going to type character here. And this is going to be a character body 2D. And create. So now on this side, this character body create, if we hit Command S, that's going to save, and this is going to, if you can also go up to scene and save scene. That will give you the same thing, and this will save the character. So go ahead and hit save just to save this. I'm just leaving it. Actually, I'm going to put a underscore player just to keep track of what this is. This is going to be the player. This is going to be the character for the player. So hit save. So now this character body 2D, the top it says character body 2D player and node 2D. So now when we click back over to node 2D, like I said, this is the top level thing. It's the whole game. So we're going to need to make an instance or to connect this character, this scene, which is going to be your player, to this scene, which is the main game. So if we go up here, while node 2D is selected, we hit this little link button here, and this will pop up instantiate child scene. And here we just kind of click on character body 2D to open, and now this character 2 body is being referenced in the main 2D. So you hit Command S, and that's saved. Now, now inside of the character body 2D, click on that again. We want to add a couple things. So if we go ahead and hit this plus symbol, actually, it might make more sense to add child node. Either one will work, but this will kind of help keep track of what's going on. We want to put a camera here. So camera 2D. It's important to be camera 2D and create. And we're also going to go in here, and we're going to add another child node. And this is going to be a animated sprite 2D. So let's go ahead and grab that and hit create. All right, so now we've created both of those. You can hit save if you like, but inside the camera, if you click on this camera, we want to go over to the side. You see this zoom, X and Y. We're going to go ahead and hit 4 on this. It'll become useful later, but we want to change the zoom. But what we also want to do is we want to change the drag. So on where it says drag, drop down and click on and on for horizontal and vertical enabled. This will come in handy later, but for now, let's go ahead and do that, and then we're done with the camera for now. Now let's go to the animated sprite 2D. So over here, we want to hit this animation. So this is the inspector window. Whenever you click on one of these, it changes. You see, this is camera 2D. These are like the properties for the camera 2D. And this is the animated sprite 2D. This changes to animated sprite 2D. These allows you to set different properties and make different changes that affect this. And so what we have is we have a character, and the reason why I put a camera 2D inside of here, so that wherever the character goes now, the camera is going to be centered on it. It won't be perfectly centered because we added this drag, so it'll allow you to move within a certain range, but then when you hit a certain point, the camera is going to move with you. So it's a little bit of a fancier center, but the reason why we put the camera inside of the character body, because the character body is going to be the representation of the character player, and it's going to have an animated sprite, which is going to allow you to see it. But actually, if you scroll up here, you can kind of see. It's kind of hard to see, but there's a purple outline here. Actually, if I click on camera, well, there's a purple outline here. It's kind of hard to see, but that's the camera. But actually, it's this right here. So if I hit this zoom button here, this kind of zooms in. There's a purple outline right there. So that's the camera. And we are going to add an animated sprite. In fact, we're going to zoom this up a little more. And all right, so next we're going to add an animated sprite. Go back a little bit so you can kind of see the outline of it. So, so now an animated sprite, let's go over here and click on this and then go click on animation. And you'll see the sprite frames. We want to click this empty thing here. And you want to select a new sprite frames. And that's going to give you the mechanism by which you can add your sprite images. So go ahead and click this. And this makes a change. After you select it, you click it again. And it makes this, changes the bottom here. And it says sprite frames down here. Pops up this whole thing. We're going to use this. But first, we need to actually have sprite sheet to use for animations. So we're going to, so I recommend what I went to this opengameart.org, and I went to this RPG asset pack, and I'm downloading this pack AH16 by 16. So the 16 by 16 is what we're going to be using today. So if you want to go ahead and download that and then unzip it, and you should have it in your folder, and it'll unzip to a place looking like this. I'll have a bunch of different things in here. So different PNGs. So these are all characters things. So the one I want to use is this AH sprite sheet people 1. This is going to have an animated sprite sheet. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag this, and because I have a Mac, I can just drag this and drop it in here, and it pops there. If you have a Windows, it'd be a little trickier. You have to right click and actually it's actually very difficult to do this with Windows. What you have to do is you have to go to the folder that you saved this in. I named mine practice, but you'd have to remember the folder that you created and then drag it into that folder, and that's how that will work for Windows. For some reason, Godot and Windows aren't very friendly towards each other. But so once you have this sprite sheet in here, let's go ahead and drag. So what we want to first do is we want to take this default here. We want to select that and then hit this trash can to delete that because we want to get rid of our default. And it gives you a little pop-up that says delete animation. Click OK. And then we want to add 4 animations. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to have one. We're going to call back. We call it one forward, and then call one backward, and call one left, and then call one right. These are going to be the 4 directions for animation that our character is going to have. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to go over here, this little grid looking thing, and we want to click on that, and that'll pop up our this folder here that will recognize there's a sprite sheet in it because we stuck it in there. So we open that up, and now whenever I whenever I want to just hit this plus button to zoom in a little bit. So this is the character sprite sheet. As you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 12 across, and there's 8 down. So horizontal, we want to type 12, and vertical, we want to type 8. And make sure you click off for that so that both of those are registered. And now I'm going to grab, you can grab whichever one you want. I'm going to grab the first 3, which is click and drag. gives me the first 3 frames, and that's going to be, oops, no, I don't want to do that. Cancel. Wait, if I do that, if I click them again, it'll unclick them. So if I look down here, I actually have right selected. So whichever one you select, you want to have it match. So I'm going to select these 3 and add 3 frames. So now this is an animation, and so that's the animation for right. So if I hit play, you can see this guy up here. You can see my little guy is moving. So I'm going to stop that for now. But so now if I go, I'm going to go to backwards next, and I'm going to do the same thing again. And I'm going to select this sprite sheet, and I'm going to zoom in on the sprite sheet. Once again, it likes to size this big for me. All right, so I'm going to put 12 on the top because it's 12 across, 8 down. So, and I'm going to click off of there. Okay, so now this is going to be, this is the backward one. So these are 3 my backward ones. So I'll select those. And then if I hit forward, I'm going to do the same thing and select the sprite sheet, hit open, and again, zoom in on this guy, and then 12 across, 8 down, and this is going to be forward, so this is this guy. Oops. So that's because this thing didn't get clicked off of. Once I click off of it, then it registers it. So this is forward. There's 3 frames, and then left. And do the same thing here. Open. 12, 8, and left. Okay, so now I've got the frames. Now I've got all 4 of these frames, and so now we can actually, we're at a point now, if we hit the save, we save the game, or save our project, and if we hit this play button at the top right, we actually play, it'll say, oh, actually I want to hit cancel because I don't want to do that yet. If I hit play again, I'll show you what happened. So this pop-up says, no main scene has been defined, select one. Well, yes, but I don't want to select the current because the current is the character. That's not the top level node. This is the top level node. So I'll hit this, select the node 2D, and then hit play. And then when this thing pops up, I can just say select current. That way I don't have to worry about selecting, and there we go. So I've got little my character there. You can see him in the video. So I'm going to close that. And so now, next what I want to do is I want to actually go back here, and I want to add a script. So if I click on, select on the character body 2D, there's this little icon here that says attach new or existing script. Script is basically code. So I am using the default code, which is the Godot script, and so I'm going to say, yep, this is going to be a code for this is going to name it character body 2D player .gd. That means it's a script, and I'm going to hit create, and this kind of gives me just the character body 2D as the first line, and then I'm going to say func as a function. I'm going to say underscore, and then physics process, and this is going to be a function that kicks off, that the code calls over and over again, and it checks. This is where it does a bunch of checking of different things, and I'm going to actually cheat a little bit, and I'm going to copy and paste some code over, and I'm going to show you what it does. So I'm going to delete that, actually delete both of these, and I'm going to paste this in. Okay, so what I've done here, I have this function of physics process, and it takes a parameter of delta, which I'm not going to use in this current usage. And basically I have an export a variable here, and I've named it speed, and I've given it a value of 200, and it's being exported, which means that the code can be seen outside. Not that I need that right now, but that's for the that's being exported. So The input direction is another variable, and this is coming from input.getVector. This is a built-in Godot function that will get the direction that the character is going. So if the input direction equals 1, it's right. So this input direction 0. So what this is this is a an XY input direction is basically an array with two items, with two numbers in it. The first item is the X and the second item is the Y. So the X can either be positive or negative, and or it's actually positive 1 or negative 1, and then the other one's positive 1 or negative 1. And basically, positive 1 is one direction, negative 1 is another, and then positive 1 is one direction on the Y, and negative 1 is another. And basically, so we're saying this is right, this is left, and this is forward, and this is back. And so when we do animated sprite 2D.play, that is going into our animated sprite, and it's hitting this play button. So whenever we saw that before, if we go to 2D and I hit play on this, you can see this guy is starting to play. So that's what that's doing. So in the code, if I go back to this, you can see I can navigate back and forth from 2D to script by clicking these top ones. And this is the where we can see our code we've written. So we're basically saying whenever I am going these different directions, it will show that I am, it'll be playing the animation. And then whenever I am not going in any direction, then I'm stopped, and that means I'm going to play forward. So I'm going to, and then we're saying velocity here. This is a kind of a magic word that is recognized by the system to recognize the speed that you're going. And this says input direction times speed. So basically we're saying the velocity, we're going to multiply the input direction of 1, negative 1, 1, negative 1, and we're going to multiply them both by speed, which is 200 right now. So if we do that, and so if we can save this, and then if we go to our 2D, and if you can see, I'm using my left arrow key, my right arrow key, and it's moving my little character around. Now we can go, this is where now it's good to talk about project settings. If we go to the project, and we go to project settings, there is a thing called an input map, and you can actually add actions, and basically this is where you can use you can assign WASD here by just say left. If I do that, there it is. So if I type left and I hit add, that gives me a new action. If I click on the plus symbol, then I can type left would be A. So I hit OK, and now I've just added an A to left. So if I then add a new one and call it right and hit add, I can click on the plus symbol next to this, and I can hit D. If I just hit my D key and then hit OK, it'll recognize the D key. And then I'll do another action for up, and then hit add. And for this one, I do the W key for up, hit OK. Do one more time for down, and hit add, plus, and we're going to hit the S key for down. So that's the WASD. This is the common controls that are used for input map, and and there's a way to reference those in the code. I'm trying to remember how to do that, but that might actually be my get vector, or left, right, back, forward. So if I go in here and I play this, I think that the oh, what just happened? No, don't do that. So okay, so if I have my character body 2D selected. Okay, so now if what I have, so in my code that I go back to script here, if I just type lowercase left and lowercase right, I believe this will, I hit save. Let me go back to my character body 2D, this guy. If I hit that, no, that's not working. I forget how that works now. If I hit the arrows are actually working because the left, right, up, down recognize the arrow keys. There's another way to associate those, but I forget what it is right now. But for now, we have a character that plays. So let's go ahead and hit the play and see if using the arrow keys, what happens. The arrow keys are not working. Okay, so that means that we still have more to do here. Okay. Just a second, let me check on this.